Super Z here with my Let's Play of Pokemon FireRed. I am going to use the Pokemon Master Trainer board game pieces. These are tokens from the Pokemon Master Trainer game that came out in like the late 90s. And they each have a Pokemon on them. And I use these tokens to use to create my Pokemon Red team. And one of the rules I was going to say is I'm not going to use the same Pokemon I use in my Pokemon Red team. So the Pokemon excluded is Scyther, Venusaur, Primeape, Flareon, Rhydon, and Slowbro. Those are excluded. And since I'm doing Fire Red, I'm not going to include any Pokemon exclusive to Leaf Green. So, Starmie, Pinsir, Ninetales, Victory Bell, Sandslash, and Magmar are also included. And Slowbro is also exclusive to Leaf Green, but I already excluded it. I'm also excluding trade evolutions because I get the feeling I just don't know how to do a trade evolution since I'm going to be using an emulator. So I have your Alakazam, Machamp, Golem, and Gengar. Those four are excluded. And another rule I'm going to set is that if I already have one Pokemon of a certain type on my team, I won't have another Pokemon of the same type. I want to have a bit more of a type variation, like variety. I don't know if I should make it an exception for flying types. Let me do this really good. Okay, I have one. It's a blue. Alright. First one is Poliwrath. So, any water or fighting types will be excluded from here on out. So, Poliwrath is going to be the first Pokemon on the team. Green. Second Pokemon, Electrode. Electric type. Ooh, this one is... It's a red one. This one is going to be really tough to get. It's a normal type. Tauros. It is rare in the Safari Zone. Who knows how long I'm going to be in that Safari Zone looking for that party member. But then again, when I did red, I had Scyther, which was also rare in its own right. This is a green. Graveler. Rock ground type. I said already exclude trade evolution, so yeah, I'm gonna use Graveler. So far, no dual typing. Green. Oh, geez, we do not have a single one of this, any of these types. And this one is gonna add difficulty to the team. Parasucked, a bug grass type. I mean, there is a strategy with it, but it's kind of gonna bring down the team. That's for sure. And then this is the last one. It's blue. Pure poison type Weezing. So that is the lineup for the Fire Red team. So let's start the Let's Play. Alright, Zipper and AZ here with a Let's Play of Pokemon FireRed. Let's get into this. Okay, I'm gonna pick boy. And since all names are gonna be like all caps anyway, I might as well just do all caps. It's not like in later gens where if you do all caps, it would seem like you're just screaming their name. Okay, I'm gonna give him the same name as my cousin. Back when we were kids playing the first generation. Okay, I'm just gonna go over to PC here and take out a potion. This is not the first time today I'm recording this. I did record some of this earlier today, and the recording was interrupted, and it didn't save the recording properly. Luckily, I didn't save the game yet. I was going to do that until after I recorded. So yeah, if you play as a boy, the TV will play Stand By Me, which is based off of Stephen King's The Body. And if you play as a girl, the movie that will play instead is The Wizard of Oz. We're just going to go up to the top here. So yeah, I'm not going to be around the bush. Before recording this, I set up the team that was drawn out from the hat, and I planned their move pools, like their move sets, and I realized just how terrible the team is going to be in this playthrough. Like, it is going to be a challenge. Like, I feel like only 2 of the Pokemon are going to carry the other 4. And the thing is, the video was was already recorded, and I'm like thinking, you know, I could just record a new video of me picking out a new team. No one would know. I mean, I would know, but you wouldn't know. But where's the fun in that? And I believe like half the Pokemon I drew out are Pokemon I've never used before. I'm like thinking, like, you know, I should just try them out for the heck of it. Okay, so here we have Bulbasaur. The Pokemon that's going to be the grass type in my team, I won't get until just after the first gym leader, so I don't want to start out with Bulbasaur, because I'm going to have him for quite some time. Until, like, I get the actual grass type Pokemon in my team. And then there's Charmander. Something I've noticed is that I won't have a single fire type in my team, and it'll be kind of weird just to have this fire type in my team until I like replace it with like my actual party members. I'm gonna start out with Squirtle, and the reason why is because the Pokemon that's gonna be the water type in my team, I won't have until the second half of the game, like until like after the 4th gym leader. So for the first half of this team, I'll have Squirtle here, and then I'll replace it with the actual water type. In fact, my team is going to be filled with like the types that I'm going to have as my like for my main team until like I'll replace them with actual party members. So I will have this as like a substitute water type until I get the actual water type. And then I'll have like a substitute electric type until I get the actual electric type. A substitute normal type until the actual normal type, and then so on and so forth. As of right now, I'm playing this on an emulator. I do play on a game like FireRed and Leaf Green on Switch. And when I do FireRed on the Switch, I'll just replicate this team and then I'll transfer the Pokemon from the FireRed on Switch over to Pokemon Home. So I could use them for, you know, battling other trainers, like in Pokemon Champions. Although, after the release of Pokemon Champions, I have heard that there's this bug in Pokemon Champions that if you transfer any Pokemon from Home to Champions, the Pokemon are going to be like in limbo. They're not going to be transferred to Champions. And like as soon as I heard about that, I'm like, oh, it's a good thing I'm not transferring any Pokemon to Champions yet, because I don't want to lose them right now. I'm sure the people who have lost their Pokemon while transferring them from Home to Champions would probably get them back, but I don't want to take the chance right now. I can hear clicking in the fucking ceiling. It's the goddamn squirrels again. Also, for Squirtle, is the squirrel part short for squirrel? Like, squirrel turtle? I see Squirtle having that little squirrel tail there. So that's what I've always assumed. I believe if you do lose to the rival here, Gary will just pay the rival so you don't have to do it. And we are fully healed, so we will just continue on. Wait, were you there earlier? I could have sworn when I was recording this earlier, you weren't here. Or when I attempted to record this earlier, you weren't here. I mean, I can't look at the previous recording because I lost it, but I could have sworn you weren't there before. Well, here's a free potion. Okay, so when it comes to like the FireRed and Leaf Green version, I could have sworn the Route 1 music reminds me of chickens. Especially in the beginning part. Right here. I can't be the only one who thinks of chickens. And I just heard a Rattata there. I'm just gonna ignore all these wild Pokemon battles because I do not have Pokeballs right now. I mean, I could battle them for the experience, but I'm just not gonna do that. Now, the thing is, when it does come time to get my main party Pokemon, I'm sure there will be a few that will surprise me, but as of right now, I kind of have low expectations for the majority of them. But who knows, maybe they will surprise me. Like, when I did Pokemon Red, there were some Pokemon that did kind of surprise me. Like, I went in with Flareon kind of being bad, but the thing about Flareon is that because in Generation 1, the special stat is like a combined stat. Like, special attack and special defense were like one combined special stat. Flareon wasn't that bad in Generation 1. And the thing about Scyther, like, Scyther knew only normal type moves. It didn't know a single bug type move. But the thing is, because critical hits were based off of speed, and Scyther was a pretty speedy Pokemon, every single attack it did was a critical hit, it felt like. Even though it was just normal type moves. And the thing is, only was like one type in general. Well, yeah, pretty much the majority of types took normal damage from normal type Pokemon. So the only Rock type had a resistance to normal type moves, and Ghost was immune. So for the most part, normal wasn't that bad. It's essentially a neutral type. But yeah, when I was drawing out those tokens... Oh, well, yeah, we got free 5 Pokeballs. In Red, Blue, and Yellow, they didn't give you any free Pokeballs. Like, you had to buy your 5... You have to buy the Pokeballs. And since Pokeballs were like 200 Pokedollars each, you had to spend like 1,000 Pokedollars just to get 5 Pokeballs. So this game pretty much saved you 1,000 Pokedollars by giving you free Pokeballs. Something I was about to say was that when I was picking out the tokens for my Pokemon team, you know, at first it did seem like, oh, this is a pretty interesting and like set of like this seemed like a pretty interesting variety of Pokemon, but yeah, it was until like when I was playing their movesets before recording this, I was like, oh no. They're not as good as I thought they would be. I mean, I knew Parasect was going to be freaking terrible. But, like... It's like, half my team is going to use Explosion. Which I'm only going to use as a last resort move. And when it comes to, like, other offensive moves, it's like... It's not much. And when I was like, and I had to give like the majority of them like TMs, and I was like, I just realized like how terrible it is when it comes to like TMs. And I'll get to it when I get to that point in the game. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna look for like a level 4 Pokemon, like a level 4 Rattata or a level 4 Pidgey. And the thing is, I won't have a single flying type Pokemon in my team, so I won't have Fly. I mean, it's not mandatory. Like, I feel like Fly is a optional HM in Generation 1 or like any of the Kanto games. The only mandatory HMs for I feel like are Surf and Strength. Those two are definitely mandatory, and the rest are optional. But, you know, it's nice to have a flying type that knows Fly. Okay, here's a level 4. I just want to catch a flying type like Pidgey or something like that to know Fly, so that way it'll make it easy for me to just travel the region later on in the game. Something I do sometimes think about is I was gonna give it I was not gonna give it a nickname. Something I do think about sometimes is like, have you ever heard about that question online? Would you rather have Like, would you rather start life over at 6 years old, or would you rather have, was it $10 billion? Like, either 10 million or $10 billion. Now, the thing is, I'm sure there are a whole bunch of people out there who are fine with how their life is right now, and they'll be like, you know what, I don't want to go back in time at 6 years old and lose what I have right now. I would rather, it's like, just give me the money. Just give me $10 billion. But it's like, I feel like I could do much better in life, as well as like when it comes to like Pokemon things, because like I'm looking at, because I was like there during, you know, Generation 1, the wild, the wild Pokemon craze of that time, and I'm like thinking, I would love to, like, there were some Pokemon things like I had some, like, if I were to experience like Generation 1 Pokemon again, I would like to keep some of the Pokemon stuff that I had back then that I have lost over time, because the thing about Generation 1 Pokemon is that it was treated more like a fad rather than a franchise, and like sometimes because of like peer pressure or something, like you just got rid of your Pokemon stuff. Like I had a clock, and it's like there have been times like, you know what, it'd been cool if I had that Pokemon clock hanging in my room. I mean, there's like a small percentage of like Pokemon stuff that I still kept from my kid years, but I was like, I'm going through the trouble of collecting retro Pokemon stuff all over again. I'm like, and it seems like a pain because I'm also competing against other people who are also collecting retro Pokemon stuff as well. And the thing is, like, when it comes to the question, like, would you rather start life over again at 6 or the money? And I'm like thinking, like, okay, if I were to start life over at 6, like, is it 6 years old at the present time, or 6 years old back when I was actually 6 years old, which was, back in like 1995? Because if that's the case, I would rather start life over at 6 years old when I was actually 6, back in 1995. Okay, sure, let's get this level 4 Mankey. I was trying to see if I could get a poison type Pokemon in this route, but I don't know if it has like a low percentage or it's just something in like Generation 1, because I could have sworn there was like a couple of poison type Pokemon on this route. And I want to have like a poison type Pokemon on my team until I get the actual main part on my team that is a poison type. Because it's going to be quite some time until I get that poison type Pokemon on my team. I'm gonna do like a few more Pokemon, see if it actually shows up. Ooh, a Spearow. I feel like Spearow is much better when it comes to, like, it's much better in terms of offensive flying type moves compared to Pidgey. No, it's gonna lower my attack so much. I saw a post like a couple days ago. It was about like, it was from someone who's like, oh yeah, unless you grew up with the first 2 generations, I find it's hard to go back to those 2 generations. And I guess they're like speaking for like newer Pokemon fans. Which I guess if you were a newer Pokemon fan, like, would you want to go back to, you know, Generations 1 and 2? Or would you rather, like, play the remakes? And the thing is, like, Generation 1 and 2 aren't that bad. But I guess I speak that as someone who did grow up with those generations. Generation 1 isn't that buggy. Like, you really have to go out of your way to, you know, find the flaws of Generation 1. Or you would hardly notice them, but I guess if, you know, when their remakes are available, like, you probably would rather play the remakes. Like, why play Generation 1 when you could play, like, FireRed and Leaf Green on Switch? Or Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which is, like, a remake of Yellow. Oh my god, let me go. Oh my god, game! Game! Jesus fucking Christ, game! Like, I'm thinking about, like, people who, like, grew up in the 80s when, like, the first Final Fantasy came out. I'm just like, would they replay the first Final Fantasy game, or would they rather, like, replay, like, remakes that came out in, like, later years? Like, there's, like, a remake of Final Fantasy 1 on recent consoles. I mean, as someone who did grow up with the, you know, first generation back in the late 90s, I do replay, like, the first generation once in a while. Like, recently, I did play Pokemon Red on my 3DS. Because I was, like, thinking, like, I was going into it, like, okay, what would my team be if I were, like, back when I was 10 years old? Like, and the thing is, when I was 10 years old, I only leveled up my starter Pokemon. I didn't, like, level up any other Pokemon. So, like, the only Pokemon that was, like, strong was the starter, which was Charmander. But I was like, okay, if I were to play the game as when I was 10 years old, what would my other Pokemon be? So I had, like, a main team of, like, what would it be like if I was 10 when I was playing Pokemon Red on my 3DS, like, earlier this year. I guess I just had no problem going back to Generation 1. Yeah, there's no poison type here. I might as well just go on to the next row, and then after record, I'm gonna have to look up to see, like, where the poison type are, because I'm gonna need to have some, like, poison type Pokemon until I get the actual poison type that's gonna be in my party. Which, who knows when that's gonna be, like. Okay, I'm actually gonna cut this video short because I just got a notification that there is a wildfire, like, well, there's, like, a fire warning on my phone, and I'm like, I should probably stop recording just to make sure, like, I don't see any smoke in the sky, but I'm going to stop recording for right now. So, if there's anyone watching, like the video, please subscribe, and have a nice day. Bye.